Are you fearful of me, or are you seeing it funny when I put this on? Vincent said he's a little bit fearful, you know. In fact, when I went yesterday, I was like, it's a fun talk. What should I do to make it fun? Like, I should live it, right? I should live the talk. So I went to Walmart, and I was trying to find out, can I find a Halloween costume? And I found this one. And it was like, it should be a scary clown. It doesn't have to be a scary clown. I can't find a funny clown out in Walmart. So anyway, I said, well, I'll put this on. I actually have a pant too, but I didn't wear that one because it doesn't fit me. It was a large. That's the only option they had available. So I thought, let's just live it and see how we can make it fun. This is my first attempt ever to talk about cybersecurity from a fun standpoint. When BSides came over, I was like, yeah, I should try to find a talk which is not intense, which is not technical. Can I make it something which everybody can relate to? I'm not an expert. I'm not a comedian. I'm not a leader at it by any means. I'm just a lowly guy in cyber trying to make the world a better place. So my talk today is about cybersecurity. Let's make it fun. That's the only Google icon, the picture I got. I was like, how can I make it fun? Is there something like a clown of cybersecurity? That's the clown of cybersecurity you can find at a Google research. That's my contacts in case anybody wants to connect with me after the talk or otherwise just be friends. Happy to talk to you. So what are we here for? And I'm going to blabber about. I said, if I blabber about, what is the definition of blabbering, right? So I actually Googled it again. The dictionary definition of blabbering is to talk foolishly or incoherently. So my talk doesn't have incoherence. It doesn't have coherence, I should say. It's pretty much all gibberish. So I hope you can make sense of it. So I'll read it through, right? I just want to be a comedian. I'm not here to explain talks here. I could have emailed you my PowerPoint deck. You could have read it in 5 minutes, but I'll let you sit here for 45 minutes before your break for the end of this day and let you go through what I want to talk about. Point number 1, yank this hard as you can, right? So the icon and cyber laugh. So this is an icon. Whenever you find this icon in the presentation, please laugh, okay? If you don't laugh, that's fine. If you laugh more than this icon talks about, that's fine. But I'll try to see if, because that made me giggle a little bit. I thought I'll giggle, get you guys to giggle as well. Cyber carriers, the bright and the dark side, right? I probably would look more like that ad hoc cyber guy with this clown called on. But you can relate to that. I guess many of you can relate to it, right? I can relate to myself. In which level of my cyber career I am right now? Possibly a 2, maybe a 3. Life is how it starts. We as our careers in cybersecurity starts where we could be literally the Neanderthals of the world, or we could be the Iron Mans of the world, right? So that's the cyber talk on career. I was thinking through what else can somebody go through in cyber as a carrier. So you hack yourself into becoming a leader in cybersecurity. Can you ever do that? I don't know if anybody has been a hacker and then they went into, so Randerman puts his hands up. Kudos to him. Kevin Mitnick comes to mind, right? We all know he was a big hacker, then he moved on in his life and became a great consultant. And so that's one way you can be a hacker and you get into the job market and you go ahead. The traditional way is you get into college, you get into university. I teach in Concordia University. By the way, how many of you are from Concordia University? There you go. These are my friends. They're my students. And yeah, you don't better be a hacker. You better go to the right ways of doing cybersecurity and get rewarded for that. Come to the dark side of the moon. Who can relate themselves to this? The teenage hacker room. The reaction of a hacker when he pwns a box. I can still remember myself 25 years ago in college, a Linux newbie, and you actually rooted an account and like, oh man, I could do that, right? It's crazy, but you definitely get a adrenaline kick out of it. I don't know how many of you have actually been hacking. I'm sure many of you have tried to pwn a box. It's an adrenaline kick. It definitely keeps me in, in this field, to be honest. Like you wake up every day, like, okay, there must be something new, a new threat intelligence, a new breach somewhere, and then, you learn from it. So It should have been a cyber laugh. I don't know how many of you laughed, but that's all right. Cyber is hard for leaders. Curse of the CISO. Do CISOs get to hack iPhones and clouds? We mostly just fill out compliance checklists. My dad is a fireman. Cool. I'd like to be a fireman, then be a CISO. The sleeping positions, right? I'm sure some of you are CISOs here I know of. I don't know if they have that sleeping position, but they're not on their bed. If they're so scared that something is going to happen or whatnot, right? But it's the reality. If you see on the other side, rather than the fun side of it, it's the reality. When you sign up for this job, it's not just all fun. It's not just all curiosity. It's about what's going to come next, and you got to be prepared for it. You got to be prepared 24/7. This is a field which never sleeps, right? So I thought, one is the fun side where do you really want to be a CISO or want to be a fireman? Or the other side, if you really want to be a CISO, make sure that you have a different sleeping lifestyle. All right. Are you too important to be breached? CISO's confession. You see Pope, and you see a small guy who sits on Pope's chair. The idea here is to explain you or to tell you that we are not too important to be breached. You can never be perfect. You'll always find gaping holes, back doors in your organization, and people can creep in. You can speak all things maturity. You can speak all things cyber in your organization. But you're always, always ready there for a backdoor, which somebody can literally go in with a phishing email, a call to help desk, change my password, MFH fatigue. Can you give me your password? All right. I'll come to the password one. That's another one. We'll talk the password serenity prayer, and we'll probably take an oath from the audience here, how many will be doing the password serenity prayer. This is the one other one I liked, right? Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 12 years since my last server patched. I like what you have done with our third-party risk program. And if you see there, the vendors' lines are lined up to take a confession because they were connecting to that organization which has never patched their server, and they got popped. Right? We always talk about supply chain the other way, like suppliers can be bad, but you never know. The organization might be infecting the suppliers, even if suppliers are good. Right? So it's a two-way street, but it is what it is. So you can be the best of the world, but you can always be breached by your supplier you have never thought could be the breaking bone. I like this one. I don't know if this is a cyber laugh on this one. It is not. It's a little involved presentation, but I'll read through it because I really loved it. When a PhD talks to an IT guy, what does he say? Strengthen your infrastructure controls to protect against malware, phishing by deploying risk assessment standards and policies to deploy endpoint protection. All right, okay, what do you mean by that? I used to do PhD. I'm an IT guy. I had a PhD. I was doing it. I couldn't complete it. But you're so technical. You're so research-oriented. You probably missed the boat, right? When a vendor talks to us, NG malware 3000 stops the threat. When can we install it, right? That's what the CISO says. And when a security manager and a compliance guy talks about requirement 3.5.2, do you protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability? I'm just having coffee. Give me a break, right? And then comes the C-level suite, right? We passed compliance. We have antivirus. We have insurance. Security solved. Why spend more money? Isn't that real? Yes or yes, right? And this is the hacker on the other side, right? They were developing controls. They were doing whatever they can. But why they couldn't find you? Because they didn't look for me. They were always looking for compliance. They were looking for all the best in the world. But they were not looking for me. And this world has to continue. This is going to stay. You'll always find these bad guys who are always a lockstep ahead from the good guys. And actually, that's, however scary that is, to be honest, in my own opinion, that's what keeps you employed, to be honest. That's what keeps you engaged. And if folks who are curious, that's the passion for many who come in, and then they work, and then they say, yeah, I want to be in cybersecurity every day in, day out. Risk Management 101. Everyone who works here and everyone who doesn't here, we have solved the problem of security. And the MORDAC, the Preventer of Information Services, security is more important than usability. In a perfect world, no one would be able to use anything. To complete the login procedure, state directly to the sun. This is when you take security to its extreme, right? And when you take it to its extreme, usability takes a hit. And on the other hand, which is not depicted here, if you take usability to the extreme, then security takes a hit. So you have to find a balance. I'm a physics, not a professor, I'm a physics student, and we used to do inverse equations, if you have ever heard of them, inversely proportional to. So I always put that when I teach my students in Concordia, security is inversely proportional to usability. The more usability, the less security. The more security, the less of the usability. Force is inversely proportional, directly proportional to mass and acceleration. F equals to ma. Those who have been physics students probably know this, right? So it's a fun way to explain how security and usability play a role in our life. I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bring it on. Bring it on. Ask questions. I don't know what the if you have questions in the end, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's if it entices you to speak about it, if it entices you to think about it. Well, Microsoft is so ingrained in our lives, and then we have usability, and then security issues, and whatnot. Yeah, we can speak at length, but. That's right. All right. As requested, I did risk assessment, risk management assessment. I concluded that there was no risk of any management. Do you have anything to add? I'll get back to you. Every story, every cartoon actually speaks a message, right? Without the fun. Sometimes it's the management, you need their support rather than them being a little bit of a pain in the neck in trying to get your security right. So it's funny. I mean, no comments, no arguments here, but it's how you perceive your risk management. We can go on length what risk is not, but unforeseen risk, how can you be sure that there are no unforeseen risks with this plan? It is not possible to know if one has considered every risk. Therefore, we can never be sure. So I can still blame you for any problems that pop up. Yes, that part of the process is still intact. Right? Like, imagine for a second how much now the message around this is how much can you actually safeguard your workforce and make sure that you are the one who gives them a safe haven in having them do their job, whether it's management, whether it's a leader, whether it's not. Because ultimately, somebody's head goes on the chopping board if there's a cyber breach. And with no fault of anybody. Sometimes breach happen for what they are. That's the world of cybersecurity. But we still get through the chopping board sometimes. Right? Social engineering. There is no patch to human stupidity. Anyone who thinks technology can solve a cyber problem, in fact, does not understand the technology and the problem. So I actually like some of these acronyms because I tried to collect some of these acronyms, right? So one of the acronyms I was like, the human is the weakest link. But there's a beautiful parody. I'll come to that later on. But anyway, this is a cyber laugh here, right? You can do all things technology, but if you have a human being who, for all good reasons, is very naive, is not a bad guy, but he can pwn your system, right? We had this email messaging talk today about the $1 million CEO in this forum itself. And poor CEO clicked on a phishing email, and everything was, bad from after that. Almost $1 million was about to get out. Funny enough, they found it. So yeah, it's where you draw the line between humans' trustworthiness, because we all trust each other before we untrust ourselves or others, right? That's the innate nature of human beings. You can't untrust anybody from the get-go. You try to trust them before you untrust them. Zero trust, 101, right? Thesis, security is as strong as its weakest link. Antithesis, people are not the weakest link, they're the most misunderstood link. So I used to be a believer of the first thesis, to be honest with you, and literally I was sitting in my afternoon call, and I was like, no, this probably doesn't make sense. I was on a call 2 days ago, and somebody put that on. He's one of the respected cybersecurity gurus in his field, and he said, no, people are the weakest link, they're the most misunderstood link. So I leave it up to you to make a judgment. I'm not here to make a judgment or tell you why or what. of the thesis or the antithesis. We believe humans are the weakest link. But maybe they want to do the right thing, they don't know how to do the right thing. Yes or yes? Everybody wants to do the right thing for themselves, for their organization, for whichever environment they are. But they probably don't have the tools, the technology, the awareness, or whatever the case may be, to enable them to do the right thing. So you have to change your mindset a little bit, I imagine, from blaming human beings to making sure you give them the right environment to do the right things. Right? Cyber awareness, walk the talk, hey C-suite. I have a new hobby, it's called phishing. I send fake emails to gullible executives, and I find out their financial information, and use it to steal the money they don't deserve. Dear customer, this is your bank. We forget your social security and password. Why don't you send them to us and we can protect money? Looks legit. Again, coming back to the point, humans are not wrong. It's just that they have to understand how to do the right things, right? And on the other hand, if you're leaders of your organization, walk the talk, right? Be the example you want your team to be, is what I'm trying to say here, right? Like, I'm not blaming C-suite or the management. What I'm trying to say is that they should also be part of sharing that awareness which they imagine their teams and their organization to follow through. And again, back to that email compromise presentation we had today, a CEO clicked on an email, and if he imagines all his other IT staff and everybody shouldn't do that, that's probably a wrong example to set, right? So it's the idea there. I don't know how many of you laughed on that cyber icon, but that's fine. I'll keep checking once in a while, right? Privacy is dead. Privacy, schmeisy, get over it. I think Bruce Schneider, there's a beautiful article by a guy called Bruce Schneider. Privacy is dead, get over it, something like that. Anyway, my emotions are encrypted to protect the security of our marriage. Mind if I clear my browser history first? You can see a devil coming to take the soul of that guy. And he's like, no, I'm so important, right? My privacy is so important, I got to get out of it before you can take my soul out. Instead of waiting for someone to steal my identity, I'm going to auction it on eBay. Like imagine what was the first talk by Amanda Knight today in the morning, right? API calls, you just give one call, literally login authentication. All the patient data came out. It's so interesting and so scary. But do we really think our privacy is secure? I don't think so. I mean, honestly, it's a point where you can demand things, but you have to find ways to live with it. It's just like, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, I forget the guy's name, he said, there are only two kinds of companies in this world, those who know that they have been hacked and those who don't know that they have been hacked. The world has moved on from prevention to moved on, like, assume breach. And you got to figure out how you do incident response when you have a breach. So in the same way, privacy is almost non-existent. You can find ways to keep yourself secure, but, and even a normal citizen of this world, I don't quote me, I'm sure around 8 to 10 websites or organizations, government or private, would have his data. For sure, right? Google always has it. I'm so surprised sometimes, like your signal goes out on your phone, and you can still go from one point to another if you have a GPS and you have put it through, right? I don't know how they track it. I'm not a technical guy on that front, but privacy is dead, in my opinion. Privacy breach. Financial planning. Will Social Security still be around? It better be. China's hackers are depending on it. We had a massive data breach. Hackers got into the private data of all of our customers. No problem. We'll issue a press release that says we're sorry, and it will never happen again. That's what we said the last 3 times it happened. Our strategy is to wear them down. Right? It looks like a cartoon, but how legit is this? Like, think for a second, companies who got through breaches sometimes, not everybody, would like to cover themselves and say, okay, we'll issue a statement, go ahead and not do it once more again. Sometimes we even change our names. Yes, go ahead, Omo. Exactly. I'm still, this is something which really reminds me to, like, is there ever an ROI on security where you can say that, this company is PCI compliant. Yes, I can make money. I'm going to work with this company. I'm going to buy stuff from him. Compliance is not security, by the way. So we'll come to that. Yes, Darcy.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting, right? Privacy policies used to be privacy policies. Now here's all the ways we're going to monetize your data. It's like, oh, privacy, where's privacy going?
Anyway,
All we're getting it back.
exactly. Yes, Martin, you want to say something? Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with that. I don't know if you have heard that one. I can speak it again, right? Like Safeway, anybody, they willingly give their information when it comes back to government or anything. No, we can't give you. Privacy important for us. So that gives me another idea for next year's talk. Money is greater than privacy. I'm going to talk about it. So we'll talk about that. Because end of the day, it's financial equation, money, right? You have that motivation to make more money. I care less if my date of birth or SIN number is out there. Well, by SIN, you all probably know what SIN is, right? It's not social insurance number. It's the sins you have done in this country. They're recorded in your report there. And you can't run away from it. Wonderful. So that's another topic for future. We'll see how we can make that happen. Yeah. Cool. GDPR full form, right? The giant database of personal records. Okay. Folks who laugh probably know what GDPR is. Those who didn't laugh probably doesn't know what GDPR is, or know about it, but they did not know this acronym. I want to talk GDPR. Marketing already showed me. All right. It's a giant database of personal records. Our customers are complaining because we let hackers get their personal data. So we have decided to change the name of the company, and we'll disguise until it all blows over. Take a mustache from the back and pass it around. You should do bankruptcy, come back, start your new organization again. I don't know how many of you do that. I mean, people can disguise themselves, come back and say, yeah, we are a new company, new organization, we have new people. So we are not the same company anymore. We actually took all your data. By the way, GDPR is a great privacy regulation. Everybody should probably know what it is. Cyber warfare, the USB missiles. This is not the Ukraine-Russia war. This is the USB missiles, right? You drop a USB, you drop a laptop, and imagine how many of us actually picks it up and put it into our corporate network. I imagine I'll be probably one of them because I'm very curious about what's out there. But that's so easy. Like, you have all the technologies out there. Chris, one of my other friends here today, was actually giving me a quick rundown of what he does. And he was like, there was a laptop, and the laptop was found in the road of his company's laptop. I'm not going to tell which company he works for, but the summer intern actually said, okay, take that laptop and plug it into your corporate network and see what it is. So the laptop was out for a day or two. They find it. They plug it back into the corporate network. God be your friend. We need to hack into Russia's system to get more information on US citizens. Isn't that so funny, right? Or Chinese companies, for that matter. US air warfare, US sea warfare, US ground warfare, US cyber warfare. This is actually the fourth doctrine on cyber warfare. I don't know if you know, in USA, they actually had 3 pillars, the air, the land, and the water. And now they actually have cyber warfare, which we can have another talk on what cyber warfare is all about, right? It's literally going after, without a lot of attribution, on your other organizations and nation-state actors and whatnot. So, yeah. Political satire on cyber. Obama to confront China on cyber spying. No need. We already know every word he'll say. The US and China share much in common, our corporate and government secrets. I want you to hack and cripple the US economy, compromise their national security, and shut down the government. Aren't the Republicans in Congress already doing that? Possibly they are, right? I'm not a Democrat, by the way. I'm neither a liberal. I'm just a centrist or a small guy. Right? But this is true. I mean, if you go on the real front, you'll have OMB hack. You can look after so many hacks where the US government went through. I won't speak to that. But yeah. Senator, I agree that we have a serious foreign cyber threat, but there might be one or two bits of flawed logic in this idea to surround our border with an alligator moat to swallow foreign hackers. Can't we just put lids on all the internet tubes? Again, it's making fun, but imagine for a second these leaders who actually make these regulations, or who are the ones who make these policies or influence the policies, sometimes don't understand, for better, for worst, you can't blame everybody, the nitty-gritties and the nuts and bolts of what the cyber community goes through, right? If you live something, you can influence something better. I'm trying to live to being a clown. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, but you have to live something to influence something better, rather than being on the outside trying to influence something just because you know a concept. So did you finish the software yet? No, I'm still paying for the technical debt from the last programmer you rushed. I don't know what that means. Well, that explains a lot. What technology when we have vulnerabilities, right? Just a small vulnerability in a system can break the whole system, bring the whole system down. S-bomb, salsa, we had a talk in the morning today. So technology is not the holy grail. It's neither the process. Could be people, but it's the combination of all three. People, process, and technology, the PPT. It's not PowerPoint, it's people, process, and technology. So technology is never the holy grail, in my opinion. Ransomware to death. The captain's ship actually got ransomware, and he jumped to death. Who's hacked? How much ransom would you pay? 10 million, 18 million, 26 million? Isn't that true? Like the MGM Resorts hack. I think if I'm not wrong, I've not gone deep into it, they did pay ransomware. They did not? That's Caesars, okay. Holy Jesus, okay, wow. So with all the, agencies and FBI and DHS saying you don't have to pay, don't encourage ransomware, don't encourage hackers, what is the truth at the end of the day if you get yourself into the shoes of a CEO or a CFO or a COO? Again, there's no right and wrong. It's a matter of practicality. Like University of Calgary, I think it was the published news, this is me being a little serious, not being a cyber fun. They went through a ransomware incident almost, 4 or 5 years ago. Conference Board of Canada, they did a presentation on that. They actually paid ransom for the basic fact that their PhD and research records were actually ransomware. And you can't live without your research that is so important for you that you figured out you have to pay ransom. Yes, Martin? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Great point, right? It's not just about ransoming and getting money, as you're right. Like, it's about your reputation. Your money, your information is out. If you don't pay us ransom, we'll actually divulge it out. Password in need is a password indeed. You got to know your password to actually log into your system, right? Password serenity prayer. Okay, go with me, right? Grant me the serenity to accept that my password will be hacked, the courage to frequently change it, and the wisdom to come up with a better one. Ookly Guku, oh, good one. I got a good password from my newborn because he can't speak. I'd like to copy that one, right? Password change sign-up sheets. I have seen that without naming a company. I'll tell you, people put passwords on sticky notes. Yes or yes? It's crazy. The world has come so far. We haven't found a better solution than passwords. Yes, MFA fatigue, three-factor authentication. But it is what it is. The life is, we have password hackers, we have password managers, password-less authentication, FIDO2. I don't know how's that going to be. But at the end of the day, it's all about passwords everywhere, and it's hard to save them. They've become such of a nuisance. Like, imagine for a second, I'm a cyber guy, right? You have to remember these passwords for so big, and not one or two of them. We went for camping actually over the weekend, and my friend, he had to pay the damage deposit on the cabin, and it was in his name. I was with him, and the poor guy takes out his debit card, puts it in, he forgets the PIN, and takes another credit card out, he puts it in, he forgets the PIN. I'm like, what's happening? Because I got 5 different cards, I've got 5 different PINs. I said, learn from me. I'm a cyber guy. I have only one pin for 5 cards. Seriously. And you can't go beyond 4 digits, right? I don't know why. That's fine. Maybe you can. My password for the network isn't working. Fill out the help request online. I can't get online because my password doesn't work. Send me an email message about it. I can't send email because I can't get on the stinking network. Geez, you're worthless. Help desk, right? They follow process. They have to follow the process. They can't live without that. Well, it's hard to find cut corners. I mean, they're paid for a job. They have to safeguard the company. They have to follow process. Dogbird's password recovery service for morons. I don't remember my password. Is it 123? That's just spooky. Password, I don't know, there was a password hack by haveibeenpwned.com. I think password was the most used password in the world. Am I wrong? Am I right? For the last 22 years. Wow. Okay, I'm still relevant with my slide deck here then. That's awesome. So, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's what it is, right? So, okay, so that didn't come up well. That's fine. There was actually a beautiful lady. She's saying, can you give me a password? And it's the Kirchhoff's principle. Pardon me? Are you the key master? Are you the key master? Exactly. Awesome. 100 points. Kirchhoff's principle of encryption. Login, password is admin. So login admin, password admin, right? It just explains you the idea of how many of these technologies have default logins or default passwords in their environment. Whenever you plug it in, you figure out you have secured it, but there is not. You don't have secured it because there is a default configuration somewhere where you have not. Dilbert's anti-encryption software is the flash drive with our anti-encryption software. Don't let it get into the wrong hands or it will eliminate all privacy on Earth. Do you understand? Blah, 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 all software. Murphy's law on artificial intelligence. When everything is going right, humans must have become stupid. I will use my superior robot brain to enslave humankind. That probably sounds better than it could actually be. How it would be. I'm tired. I need to recharge. Gah, I hate owning you. Metrics, right? Terminator. How many of us are saying articles? I see articles on Fox News, CNN. Again, I'm not a right-wing guy. They say AI is going to replace everything. The humankind. Terminator is coming. Matrix is coming. I don't know. I mean, really? Possibly, possibly not. I'm just a lowly human being who knows how to use technology. Can we make our lives easier by using AI? Hopefully, ChatGPT can do that. All my students are here. I give them assignments. I tell them not to use ChatGPT for the assignments. How many of us do that? I don't know, right? We do a lot of use of ChatGPT these days. I'm not going to go into the details of it, though. Can I interest you in the firewall for your toaster? Imagine for a second, you'll have a shop of firewalls and everything, and people go in, just like they buy appliances, buying cyber technologies, and you're actually helping them out find one. Maybe that's the future if we go that route. Internet of Things. Here's our software for lending money, and that's our hardware for collecting debts. I come from India, by the way. In India, when you're not able to collect debts, again, this is not anything bad about India, but you actually have people, mafia, who you can use to collect debts. And they go and they actually get debts out of you. Go ahead, somebody wants to say something? Yeah. Clouds are infallible. Isn't that all Linux servers, Dad? Mostly. Thunder and lightning isn't God being angry. It's Microsoft and Google fighting in the clouds. Mom's doing Kubernetes. Cloud everywhere. Where is the cloud everywhere, right? You have cloud computing, but what is cloud? It's all hazy out there. Is it that not internet? Is it not my servers somewhere else? Yeah, I guess people can debate. Public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, etc. cloud. There you go, RenderMan. There you go. High five. Yeah, I mean, we sometimes, redo certain things or reimagine certain things which have already always happened. This is a cyclic world of possibilities we go along. There were mainframes, then came down desktop computing, thin clients, back to cloud computing, which is another centralization of technology, back to customization with iPhones, which is iPhones are in hands of everybody, back to something else tomorrow. It's always centralization, decentralization, centralization, decentralization. And you keep calling it different names, basically, with different principles for that matter. But for the nerds, and I have been ignoring our security alarms for several months now. You have been doing what? I figured if I ignored them, then maybe they'd go away. Isn't that alert fatigueness? Yes or yes. We had another talk on that. MFA fatigueness, alert fatigueness, too many alerts coming in, and that CEO's email got popped because there was a Defender alert, but there were 20 other alerts coming out of it. So who's going to look at it? I don't know what's the solution to that, but that's the problem. Dilbert, I want you to install the new firewall. No, why me? The firewall guy gets blamed for every problem. People will say everything worked until you change the firewall. There will be no rest for me. I will have to defend myself against a continuous barrage of accusations. It's always a firewall. Everyone blames the stinking firewall. I surrender to the inevitable villagers, grab your pitchforks and torches. How did we get that way? I blame the firewall. The holy grail of technology which is going to save us from everything, right? Firewall everything, next generation, whatnot. Murphy's laws and disasters. It's my innovation. When a disaster has to occur, it will occur. It's just my way of saying it. I try to say Murphy's law in a different way. Charlie, we need to initiate our network outage response. Calm down before you do that. Please make sure the network is really down. Oh, I just disconnected our router. We are definitely down. Foolproof disaster recovery plan. We lost all of our company data and our backups too. So I hacked into our government secret database where they keep records of everything we say or do and got it all back. I feel as if I should have been doing something now. Nah, everything is working fine. Isn't that funny, but isn't that real? Like sometimes your data is everywhere, right? Privacy is dead. If you feel like you have to bring that back, somebody must have already have it. We need insurance for something we can see or touch. Cyber insurance policy. What insurances do we have? On property, on vehicles. These are things we touch and feel because the forces of nature can break them. Can the forces of nature break cybersecurity? I don't know, maybe yes. But we do insurance still. Transfer of risk, right? I don't know how many of us do that. We try to do that. We still don't get paid. I get a couple of insurance claims, I never get paid. I still figure out, why do I pay insurance? Anyway, that's a debate altogether. I don't know if Europe, I heard in Europe they don't pay insurance, or not a lot, but in North America it's a culture. You have to pay insurance because something can bad happen, right? Anyway, that's my 2 cents on insurance and cyber insurance. I know Martin has a lot of views on insurance, and he can speak about that. That's the end of my presentation. Uncle Sam wants you to give me thanks. Thank you very much.